excuse me, I have severe allergy problems and, I can't take Zyrtec because I get too much dry mouth problems, so I'm on a lesser intense allergy medicine. If, I am calling the Board of Health meeting to order at 7:06 PM, May 14th, here at the Slate Building, and,
Recorded.
and remember that it is being recorded and be mindful of that. And all of our board members are here tonight, as well as our student intern, Victor. So, all right, sorry I did not get the minutes done early, but they're here, so take a few minutes to review them. Well, maybe we can keep the door cracked.
I've already all the way.
Put an empty box in front of the door.
It's warm. Do the seniors have it cranked up? I don't know. Where's the thermostat?
I don't know, no, there's, I don't know how to control any of that.
Remind me, I just unplugged this.
Oh, okay.
I'll plug it back in.
Alright. Does anyone see any corrections that need to be made to the minutes? I cannot make a motion because I wrote the minutes.
I wasn't
So,
here, so.
But, Diane or Gaia will make a motion about the minutes, please,
I make a motion to accept the minutes
as written.
as written.
Second.
Okay, all in favor based on what everybody sees?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. Judy, do we have any updates on COVID flu Maven?
Nope.
Okay.
They've they're still doing the every other week, they're still doing the, webinars on, different infectious diseases, so.
Through the Maven program?
Yeah, at 11 o'clock on Tuesday mornings, so if anybody's interested, I can send along a connection. But the other thing is, where are we at trying to get her on as an approved Maven
It's
person?
fine
Diana.
with the
We-
board.
We said we were going to put her on it, so.
Right, I'll have to
She
work on
needed
that.
she needs a letter sent to DPH, to the epidemiology department. Get her approved, and then they will send a link to her. And based on our request to put her on the docket, and they'll send a link to her so she can look at the test, which basically is, as you're taking the test, you learn how to work the Maven, so it's not that difficult.
Okay.
And then that will put her on it, and then she'll have access to get into the Maven.
What was his name? Was it John?
Scott.
Scott, that was close.
And with an S. You did good.
Scott Troppy, I think, Troppy.
Okay.
Okay, so, but we need to get her on it, because I wanna get off of it.
Oh, we're not gonna be on together? I don't understand.
I'm gonna make you the primary, me the secondary.
Oh, my.
Well, it's been so busy, you know, it'll be real hard right now.
Yeah. There's been nothing on it for almost a month. Yeah.
All right.
There's some old cases, which I tried several times to clear, but
But if you don't clear them, could she look at them and see?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so that would be good.
It just shows you the procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have Title V reports and perk tests. We have 40 Lombard Road, Title V passes.
oh, can we just go back one step? One thing I did notice about, I got, getting some reports from a website called All Healthy. And, I picked up a number of different websites that when I went to the conference, one of them was that All Healthy. And what they were looking at just for COVID, is what they saw is there was a peak like last summer. Not anything like what we had during the pandemic, but there was still a peak over the summer.
Over the
And then,
summer.
and then it came down and it peaked again, January, February. So my question is, what are we to expect this summer? Are we gonna go up, or are we gonna slide down and then see it come back up again in the winter time? So I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, so any emails that we get from various groups, keep our eyes open as to any predictions they might have.
This website, All Healthy, is pretty
Mhm.
good. It
Okay,
stays on top of it and sends out maps, graphs and things like that. I'll send out the link to everybody.
send it to Nancy and have Nancy send it to everybody.
Okay.
All healthy, wonderful. Okay. All right, back to the Title V's. Thanks, Judy. Alright, I'll pass that on there. We have another one. Keep this in front of me, otherwise I'll be looking at the wrong thing. 9 Old Princeton Road cutoff. Title V passes.
Good piece of land. System's been there for 89 years. Good drainage.
I'm not spotting the tank size. The family reports that they are using 5 bedrooms at 9 Old Princeton Road. When it was pumped, the tank was for 1,000 gallons. But it's already in existence.
Yeah.
Okay. And that one passes. Get my pen out. report.
Where you came. Find the email.
We do have a water test report from 2024 from Briarwood Townhomes. And the water test report looks okay, however, if there's any issues where they should contact East National Water, your water operator. Pass that around. Ethan, I had asked them to deal with a report, right?
Hmm?
It's Briarwood,
Yeah, that's the same,
and,
for the wastewater,
yeah, the wastewater.
which is.
Okay. Let's see, DCR, Central Region Beach samples, do we have one for May 20th, 2025? Comet Pond. We checked for enterococci, whatever. Sorry about the pronunciation. And the result was 1, which is about as low as it can get. And I'll put a little star by that. No issues.
How often is that testing?
I think that they do that.
I think weekly, don't they?
Weekly or monthly?
Yeah, I was thinking. Once
I
they
think
get
it's
going.
weekly, yeah. Once, and they tested it before Memorial Day when they open things.
Yeah. But yeah, there's nothing in there unless it's just that beach portal, like I think when Cushman, what is it?
Mhm.
Cushman Pond,
Yeah,
when they'll start putting information in for that, but that was just an email I got.
Okay. So here's the, copy of the email that the, recreational water quality scientist from the State Department of Public Health, sends out every year. And, this is where, various beaches send their information to. So here's a complete,
Is this, I don't mean to interrupt, is this supposed to be for 2024, this
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
quality?
yeah.
It's not clear in the indication
No,
of the
some
time frame,
I know, some of it's 2021 and some's 2024.
and then it's, yes, and then it says next sample in 2024, but it's not alluding to a grid such as this.
Correct.
you've got an update listed on the next one, what
So
what
that,
updates do we have on Briar?
so that one is just,
That's on the water, wastewater test.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's coming up.
but we don't have any other further updates on water testing.
Not water testing, no.
so,
They're always behind,
So that's behind,
So
okay.
Briarwood-
they're always behind.
we should send them an email asking for a 2025 water test.
So why are they always behind?
Does it happen happens to be
So
the
then-
complex itself.
So the assumption is you would sample that water in 2024, you send it, so the report generated, they just don't get the report on time,
Right.
right? Okay.
But a lot of the tests, the results are from the previous year. That's what they send you, so in 25, you'll get information from 24.
We really should be a little sooner than that.
Yes.
I mean,
But
if you
that's the
test-
way it has
If you
worked.
test in May, we should have some sort of results by the,
A
no
month,
later
within
than
a
the
month.
end of June.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't take that long to run a
So
water
we
test,
should
right?
ask them to do a 2025 water test, and we'd like to see the results within a month of the water test, cause that's more timely. Alright,
Yeah, 'cause
oops.
you don't wanna find out there's lead in the water 6
Mhm.
months
Or
down
some
the
other
road.
contaminant.
Yeah,
Or a year down the road.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so here's the email that shows the kind of information they collect at the Massachusetts DPH on beaches and beach water testing. So the report that went around showing Comet Pond, will be sent to them automatically, as well as, there'll be reports from, the neighborhood.
Nancy, are you keeping a password book? Cause everything's going digital, so
I
you're
know,
gonna need
I know,
keep a password book.
I know.
What's the one that we test?
Isn't it Cushman Pond, is it Cushman Pond?
I think Cushman is the one that's up by, is that the one that's up by,
Look at this and
no.
swap
The name of it.
Mohawk Drive? and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Pinecrest?
Pinecrest.
Yeah.
Pinecrest,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm so-
Cushman Pond will
Yeah.
also be part of
Jim
that.
Ellis will do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does a good job. Yeah, we're gonna catch up a little bit.
Come down.
Noah's so interested in the other beaches.
Well, I have to
Which
check
one
with
do you wanna
Denison,
go?
because that's my local one.
Yeah.
You don't wanna go?
Once we get caught up here a little bit, then I'll move forward to the next items.
I see there was 7 Morgan Road. I watched that, seen that dirt driveway for quite a while now. And then all of a sudden, the other day, there's,
A mailbox?
yeah. I said, oh,
I've been waiting to get in there.
into the house? Why do you wanna see the house?
You know, not me,
Oh, okay.
the person that owns it.
It's blue. It's way back in the woods.
Is it really?
Yes. I think at one point it was like a little cabin or something, and they knocked the cabin down.
Oh,
There's always been something there.
Oh,
This
It always
is saying that they're
belonged
not
to
going
somebody.
to do another sampling until 2027.
Okay.
And
good.
what is contaminant mean? Cause that's, it says violation.
What's the contaminant you're looking at?
It just says contaminant violation.
That debris?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's the top row of the, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because, yeah, the table, yeah, because it's,
Yeah.
yes, this is carried over.
Yeah, see, it's the top row of the
Oh.
types.
Oh, good, yeah, cause there's nothing in here that says, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so they don't do this annually then?
I don't know that I've ever seen a one like Briarwood,
They
since I've
do.
been working it.
I know, but they should, and they used to.
I think the rule is over 25.
Over 25, what?
They said they have 40 homes or 40 residents? 40 homes?
40 residents?
21 service connections, 20 units, 40 people, approximately 40 people.
Yeah,
So-
'cause it's over 55, I believe.
So if it's over a certain number of people, you have to test.
Yeah, it's over 25, when it's on a public water system like that.
Well, I just don't understand, I guess the same thing that Diana was saying, like, why are some of these
Results very old looking.
very old, yeah, why even include them?
Maybe it's
Well,
reference.
so how
Yeah.
old are they? Because if they're not gonna test again until
2020.
27.
So that one's gonna be 7 years old, these two, sodium and fluoride. I mean, I guess, and then radium was from 2021. I don't know, it's something I don't know anything about really, so. I mean, I know about dates, 2027's 2 years from now.
Right, so we need to have them do it yearly. That's the,
Probably need to go back and check the MGL.
The-
I'm pretty sure,
the-
I'm pretty sure yearly.
for the, yes, the MGL, in other words, the state code,
Mhm.
which one it is.
It's not something I read daily.
Me either. I have to find it.
Yeah. Sounds like a little robin.
It's cute.
Alright. Okay, so also about Briarwood, we have some more,
I tagged them.
waste, water reports here.
They're not water reports.
Not,
Yeah, wastewater.
septic
Yeah.
issues, excuse me. And Aqueous Infrastructure Management, came up with recommendations. And this second document shows some of their sampling issues. Now, what I don't see,
So I.
is, the current community manager. His question is, do we need to go back to the vendor and request the water tank be inspected instead? What did they inspect here?
Where did we leave off with them? What was the last?
They were supposed to.
So a year ago, they got a report from the Department of Environmental Protection
Right,
that said they had deficits that they needed to fix.
right.
And we've been after them ever since to follow up and keep following up. And now you can see it's getting thicker, that they do something about it. And
They're saying it's a hardship, right?
But they have done
Okay.
They have,
So they have had another company come in, and on the, where the arrow is with the blue, it shows their deficits.
Okay.
So the point is, they need to address these and deal with them, in my opinion. You just look at it and go, let it go around.
this needs to get something.
Yep. Again, this is for the safety of 40 people who are living in that area.
They are continuing though to communicate, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's-
Yes, yeah, no, it's going forward. They had a more current, different inspector come in, but they still have some deficits that need correction.
But you're not ignoring me,
Yeah, it's good.
so that's good.
Yeah.
Wow, you want a fence that's 96 inches tall?
Hmm?
They want a fence that's 96 inches tall?
A fence?
Yes. So security, we recommend installing a fence having a minimum height of 96 inches.
What does that have to do with wastewater?
Well, they must have some sort of,
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know,
not sure.
that'd be, cause, yeah, you're right, because looking at the system right now, it's pretty flat in the ground. Looking at the pictures, looks like it's buried,
And there is an air vent
yeah.
so that it can
But
breathe.
people can walk around in air vent, unless they wanna smell it.
Yuck, but anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, don't quite understand that either, but
Mm.
that's what he said,
That I'm not sure that
yeah.
we don't have any requirements for that as a
Right.
Board of Health
Yeah.
for a special fence.
Around.
So you can let them know that the Board of Health in Hubbardston does not have a requirement
Requirement.
for
Yeah.
any
But they
kind.
had, it was listed, there were 5 things that were listed.
Yeah.
Yes.
One with the number 1 through number 5 in
Right.
priority.
Yeah,
Right.
there were, yeah, they had some screenings and things like that, it's all part of the system. But there is a lock on it, maybe that's why they wanted the fence, but 96 inches seems
Mm.
excessive.
But if he asks, we do not require fences. At this time.
Always at this time.
Permits to be signed.
Yep, Maddie's Ice Cream, we had held it the last meeting, but now all the, information has been
Work in
turned in.
progress, right here,
So
for sure.
we can now
I don't know.
sign
I knew
off.
it.
Give me the permit for us to sign. Three, yep.
Right.
Okay.
Hold on, this is stuff.
Maddie's Ice Cream, there's 3 permits, all the rest of the paperwork is now been collected.
So who's the agency, 'cause I didn't pick that up, that give them the list of recommendations?
You can see the name when you flip to the,
I kept all the correspondence in that.
held the permit for Ron Burton. We signed it, and then we realized at the last meeting that the ServSafe and water test there was no water test, and ServSafe had expired, but we've got the new information, so we actually don't need to sign anything, and the water test came back completely clean. So I'm just,
Put that in there so you guys can see it.
yep, so I'm just gonna add that right back to the stack. That's all been cut. Next, we have Jim Duval Excavating for a
Those food permits that we signed.
installer permit.
No, I don't know. Did
No.
she?
No.
No, okay.
No,
Okay.
you're not a board member, you cannot sign,
Okay.
sorry. Maybe later, but not now.
Why, are you drafting them?
You may, hey, there's 2 openings. Okay. They're from Royalston, paperwork's all in order. There's that one. Next is,
Corey Wilson.
Corey Wilson of Cochran's Trucking from Winchendon, who wants approval for an installer. He's passed his test.
Oh, you already.
He's got all his licensing, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the Peterson very healthy. They're pretty sticky. No good. I know one of the board members. She's just like Kathy. Fussy.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
Unless I miss it. That one.
Not another one. That's sure it's only one copy.
Right. And then a new one that came in since the agenda was posted is Mountain View Septic Installer Permit.
So he works through, he's got his licenses, and he works through Neshoba Associated Board of Health, which covers all these towns. So he only had that, but so I asked Phil.
Yes.
And he said,
And Phil
yes,
said
it's
that-
sufficient, so Neshoba is like the gold standard for installers.
Okay, so-
I said, okay, then I guess that's okay.
All right. Thank you for checking into that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Nancy, Kathy, last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, why did we hold this?
Which one is that?
That
Uh,
Maddie's
Maddie's.
Ice Cream?
Yeah,
They did not have,
the serves.
It was the, because she goes through another town.
Was it the gardener?
yeah, she didn't have the mobile permit from her
Inspection.
from her town. And now we have that. Okay.
Somebody gets to be vice chair.
Not Judy?
Not tonight.
Vice chair?
I signed.
I would think so.
Okay.
Oh, right, for the, one
No
day.
fee.
The
Fee is
June.
waived.
Okay. item is in for approval. This is for the town fair, Saturday, June 7th. It's a reptile show, one-day animal experience. And they have sent that all in. And because it's for educational purposes, the fee is waived. And it's the sign on the back of that one. I went farming. I still got dirt on in my cracks.
Good dirt.
Yes, it is. There's no open septic plans and engineering plans to review this time. And we have 2 items still going around for the installers and permits. For the inspections, I did the Rod and Gun Club on Sunday before their chicken barbecue, and everything is fine. I'm doing the school on Thursday. I was gonna do it last week and I had to reschedule due to a farm delivery. Those are for this week. I hope to get all the commercial inspections done in the next couple weeks, before the next meeting. And then I'll pick up on the residential after that. Metal recycling, nothing new to report there. I left a message for Travis to help close the back gate, cause I couldn't close it myself. I haven't followed up on that yet.
Was the metal recycling after the last meeting?
There's a report about it in here, isn't there?
No,
You didn't follow up on that.
oh,
You didn't.
no, for the-
Right, am I right?
Well, we talked about doing a construction, dumpster at the last meeting. We filled the bin, and thanks to the help of Diane.
Again? Man, that's a.
And we have
Full
5
of-
piles.
Wow.
We have 5 piles set up nice and neatly so that once the dumpster is emptied, and brought back, DPW can use their big bucket and scoop up a pile and dump it in. And there's 5 individual piles that we set up,
Wow.
so that it's easy for them
'Cause
to do.
we filled it last fall.
Oh, yeah.
Is it gonna, are those 5 piles gonna fill it again?
Not completely if
No.
they put them in
Wow.
nicely, but,
Didn't know there was that much
and I
metal
wanted to,
around.
Rebecca,
Busy day.
Yeah.
thanks to Diana and her daughter for helping
Oh,
me.
yeah.
And then, we did get a fella who brought some stuff that he's now, on the list. He said he'll help in the fall, and,
The cert guys, Bella, and
they were busy.
Chuck, Chuck is also sick at the time as well.
But we did
COVID.
fine.
Mhm.
Everybody was
It's kinda
cooperative that
isolated.
brought
Yeah,
stuff,
Yeah, it was good.
so that was fine.
Alright,
The rain held off until
Yes,
we were
rain-
finally finised, and then the rain
just
came
poured.
down. Yeah, we had just gotten it done, and maybe half hour after that,
It started raining.
just
Wow,
Yep, so it went well.
yeah,
I can't give you a dollar value because I haven't followed up now for the last 2 weeks
wow,
on making sure that the door was closed so we can call Templeton and have them empty it. And,
it's pretty surprising, considering how much we put in last fall, and then
yeah,
oh, people are
Yeah,
cleaning
filled it
up.
again.
people had so much stuff.
The healthy
I
bins
couldn't
were
believe it.
overflowing and they did come and pick them up.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Cause I had to call them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had driven by and I'm like, oh, and I called them and they called me back the next day from New Jersey, and, within 6 days of they had come and emptied them, so, they're still there.
And they're supposed to move
Money all over
down,
the place.
I know.
they're supposed to move down to 48 sometime.
Well, we're not
sometime.
quite sure where they're gonna go yet, right?
They may move at some point, but right now, they're at the south end of the DPW / recycling
Sounds like they're
entrance.
being used.
They are
Right,
being
so,
used.
yeah, I had a
So
question
it
about
might
that too,
be,
yeah.
we might just leave them there, we may
Yeah.
not move them
Yeah.
because there's another recycling company. There's a bin here outside the senior center, it's up by the what used to be called the pallet company, there's bins there. So,
And if you
it-
move them, maybe somebody will say, oh, they're not doing it anymore.
Right.
so that if people know that they're down there, at this point, we'll just leave them,
Yeah.
once it becomes a,
Maybe we could have them move forward a little bit, as
I
you mentioned.
did mention that to move them 20 feet closer to the highway, so they're slightly more visible. They did not do that, they just emptied them. I'll work on it. But the Halsey bins were emptied.
Okay.
So, I have a question back to this. Is this the first application we're receiving after we voted on our newly zoo regulations and so forth?
Yeah,
Yes.
and this is for a 1-day permit for educational purposes.
So we had a clause in there for 1-day permit?
For
Yes.
educational, there is a waiver. of
So the
fee.
fee is waived, but is the requirement from a health standpoint is also waived, like basically, certificate for a state vet, copies of current licenses, et cetera, are those waived as well?
No, they should provide those.
Well, I mean, again, it's still, it's attached here.
Yeah.
There's no other comment to signify that it is waived or not waived. The
There is
next-
no waiving
They
of,
never provided them in the past.
right, so.
I think that we had talked about that just being informational, cause we didn't even have that previously.
Right,
Yeah, because
so
this is the
going
first time we've had
forward,
people
we
doing this,
need
yeah.
to let them know that they need to include those inspections. Okay, so maybe attach it, that we adopted this spring, and give them a copy of the regs, so that they know that in the future, they should include these other items. And the updated form, give
Okay.
it, you know. I don't have anything on the scanner update as of right now.
I did email Trish and I'm just waiting to hear back
Okay,
about the doing half and half.
okay. Any new business? Any unexpected subjects?
What happened? Oh, I see. There isn't a third committee, that's why you're talking about half an hour. Got it.
Any, no complaints? We have a turnover and two turnovers and a warrant for fees for our sanitarian. Here's the two turnovers.
Wherever it is twice. Oh, here and here, so I paid for it here, wasn't that amount, it was this amount.
Okay, so that was reduced.
Yep, so I took
Okay.
it, and I let him know, and he said, okay. Oh, it's over here. Okay.
hazard.
You can see all
Might be a
the
new tree.
individual items that Phil, our sanitarian, did. He had accidentally put in one item twice, and it was corrected by Nancy. And I noted that. Here's the turnovers to pass down. Reminder that the town meeting is next Monday. Town election is June 17th. Oh, and here's the bills paid
June
for.
2nd, right?
Next Monday, right, is the second?
Yep. Thanks for the reminder.
This is the one we have to sign?
Yes, on the first page.
I never remember which one we're supposed to sign.
That's okay.
You have to tell me.
That's okay.
Although I have heard that the treasurer is doing a really great job, he's going through all the different accounts and straightening a lot of stuff out.
Our new treasurer,
Yes,
okay,
You mean new accountant
new accountant,
or the treasurer?
good.
new accountant.
Accountant. Working with Mary. Yeah. She said it makes a great partnership, the two of them.
Oh, I do have to go backwards, there is new business.
That's too late now.
Yeah.
It's
It's old business now.
Had a meeting, last week to discuss, moving the septic records over to the new building. And, agreed verbally to thin the folders. Trish is going to bring in a shredding company and around approximately July 14th. So, I did agree that, and the state said we could, they got mail sent to information to the state and got the approval that we could thin the records. We will keep all the large plans, but other documentation that's already been put on Laserfiche will go into some kind of container and then be shredded. And one of the assignments is to have our intern help with that.
But it also means that we need to just pick a day and we'll go through the files together, thin it out. And there's files even here that are unrelated to the Board of Health that I've been going through. So there's still a lot of files to
Yeah,
to go
so
through.
there's like 7 file cabinets of septic records, and
they
then,
can give us one file cabinet. They-
well, we need to have an extra to grow into, so, at least 2 file cabinets.
Yeah.
And if 2 are mostly still occupied, then we'll move a third one, empty one over, again, for the growth of the town over the next 20 years.
And the storage space where all this is going is up on the second floor at 48 Gardner. And there is and the space is designated for Board of Health. This actually could accommodate 3 file cabinets without
No
any
problem.
problem.
So it'll all dependent on how much all these properties will take up space in file cabinets once they're thinned. So,
So we need to pick a date, guys, to get together.
How many are there right now? 5?
cabinets?
Yeah.
7.
7. And then, there are file cabinets that I wanna call behind, near where, what office, it was your old office, emergency office.
It's right now, it was Sharon's office and our office.
And, yeah,
It's been a lot of offices.
yeah, they've, a lot of turnover. There's 3 cabinets there, 2 of which have ancient BO Board of Health stuff in. When they were getting ready to move, I went through all the files in next to you in your office, and I went through some other file cabinets that were in the meeting room, and a lot of things were already disposed of, but there was a lot of stuff I didn't have time to really look at, so we need to,
So it went
that's
into
what
those
we
file
really
cabinets.
need to sort through as a group, is those cabinets. The records of property is pretty straightforward. I think we can, kinda get through some of that without the whole group, but some of this history that's in some of these other folders, to know, is any of it significant enough to keep? The table is still down there in the old meeting room area, and we just need to pile through it as quickly as we can. I couldn't make those decisions in a timely manner, so pushed stuff over and stacked it horizontally. And the stuff that was already there also needs a quick review. Judy had gone through a bunch of it at one point and cleared a lot out. However, there's still more to decide. If any of it has historical value, and that might fit in one big box or 2 boxes, that would be worth keeping. These things we can keep if we want to as a Board of Health. We don't need anybody else's approval or disapproval. This is our information, and if we deem it's significant enough to keep for historical reasons, then we can do so. As a Board of Health, that's under our perusal, nobody else's.
How do we know if things have been scanned?
Now, everything that's in those 7 cabinets of septic records have been scanned.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So therefore, it's simple to, delete a lot of it,
You can just pull out the big septic.
we keep the
plans.
folder and we look at and see if there's,
You really do need to look at it, because prior to 1990, a lot of those plans were on 8x12s.
so we do
So-
have to have a
Oh, okay.
distinction of knowing that we're keeping the right septic engineering plans, whether it's a small page or a big page.
And those, the 8x12s weren't scanned, is that what you're saying?
They were, however, the way we're proceeding is the large plans that we look at now,
Mhm.
those are what we're keeping.
Gotcha, and we would also wanna keep
Keep
those
those,
8x12,
yeah.
okay,
Because
Before-
the house gets sold, my house was built in 85,
Yeah.
I have an 8x12.
yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
so that piece
if
of
my
the
house
record
gets sold,
should
they
still
still-
be in the folder.
That's a record that the folks that are gonna do the inspection of my system and everything are gonna be wanting,
Yeah,
That makes
so
sense.
that's where we're at.
even if it's only a little drawing on a
Judy
piece of
was
paper.
at this joint meeting
Mhm.
to go over that.
It got a little testy.
No, it's fine,
Melody was,
it's
right,
fine.
Melody was fighting for her piece of the action on files as well. Cause she's got all the files over there in the safe.
Oh, yeah.
So she was arguing on behalf of the records, the historical records that are in the safe.
Right, all maps will be kept,
Yeah.
all maps, even if they were scanned, all maps will be kept. It has been deemed as important to keep all our maps. They go all the way back to the 1700s, and we do have those. Okay, sorry about the.
No, that's fine, so,
business.
one thing, so I was wondering, do you wanna, since Judy and Liz wasn't here, actually Nancy as well, kinda recap what Victor's plan is gonna be for the summer?
Sure.
From what time and from when to when, and what is the scope of her work?
So I'm not sure how many hours a week that would be.
They said around like 15 to 20 in like the thing I got from the state.
Right.
But I'm gone for 2 weeks in July,
Right.
so yeah.
So we'll probably do the 20 hours a week kind of thing. And,
So what is your
So you're gonna-
background?
so, you missed the meeting, sorry, go ahead, tell her again.
What is your
Um,
background?
I am a interdisciplinary studies major with a concentration in public health and a minor in biology, because I wanted to know like the science behind like why diseases do what they do and stuff like that. And like I wanted to take microbiome and like virology and stuff. So this allows me to take public health classes while also exploring my interest in biology. I am going into my senior year, and I don't know, I just like public health.
So the reason why I ask is because I think one day anyway, you should sit down with Tammy Bedard. She's out of UMass and they are developing a new curriculum for public health.
Mhm.
So, that would be probably something that would be, we could put on your agenda, sit down with Tammy Bedard.
Right, so initially, there are current records, stack or so, yay high, that need to be scanned into the Laserfiche. So there's an orientation for all new town interns about buildings and so on and so forth. Approximately an hour to an hour and a half. Then the next thing would be to work on scanning, and Nancy, you'll work with Nancy to scan those in. And then once you're done with that kind of work, then we'll move on to thinning records, the septic records, once we know what we're supposed to put discarded things in so that they can be hauled out to be, and where we're supposed to leave that and stuff. That hasn't been decided yet. Excuse me. Then we can add the introduction about the curriculum. We also wanted to ask you to work on a program with instruction from the office staff about putting all Board of Health forms on a new online system. And so that will be a technical thing to do. I'll let you know whenever we can work it out to have you go with me on some residential kitchen inspections. So that's another area that can get exposed to. That will probably take you right into August.
Yes, I don't mind the scanning and file stuff. When I was in high school, I was drum major, and I digitized and scanned and organized my school's entire music library.
Wow.
So
Yay!
Yay!
It is one of the strengths that we're gonna make use of
yeah.
on a Board of Health scale. And I think those are our priority areas, okay?
That's good. So Judy, you're referring to Terry Bernard from UMass?
Tammy
Tammy,
Bedard.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other things, have you heard anything from the Association of Health Boards? We paid the bill, remember they sent a
From
renewal?
MAHB.
I haven't heard anything.
So what I was wondering about is if they had trainings coming up. Cause that was one of the things that they wanted all the Board of Health members on the,
Yeah, that's right.
to go through.
ICS.
No, we're all set on that, to go through their training, which was a review of what we can and cannot do, you know. I went through it like eons ago, but they were going, then it sort of went away, and now they wanna bring it back.
what was
Right.
his name?
Yeah.
Came-
Hugh,
Right. I haven't seen anything, or received any emails
cause that
about
would
that.
be another thing that she could participate in too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we all have to participate, so if we could find some information
Okay.
as to, alright,
Oh.
what are they gonna do? Everything's going online, everything's becoming a webinar,
Right,
so.
except for the in-person tier 2 level of food inspection training, and I'm on a waiting list. Haven't heard anything.
Oh, good, congratulations.
I did all the paperwork for the tier 1, and now I'm just waiting. That was all online, as you said, but yeah, I think that was our door. Okay, I think we have caught up with everything then. Sorry to go back around everything a second time.
June 10th,
So,
Next meeting.
the next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 10th at 7 PM here at the Slade Building.
okay, there's a remote possibility,
The door just blew open and I didn't know you guys were all in here, I'm so sorry, just wanted to make sure everything was all set.
It had gotten too hot, so we opened it.
Okay.
Very hot.
No
In the parking lot,
problem.
loaded my car and I just saw whoosh, and I was like.
No, it's fine. No problem, Trish.
Do you want me to prop it open then?
We're almost done, it's okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
June 10th, there's a remote possibility I may not be able to be here.
Okay,
There's a group over in Gardner, in fact, there's 3 or 4 groups over in Gardner that would like to get together and, talk about trying to help some of the issues around the immigrants. So, and that seems to be the date they all seem to be settling on.
okay.
So I'll let you know.
Does that look okay for everybody else at this point? All right, great. So I will adjourn the meeting at 8:10 PM.